Hello, back to another episode of Vulnerable Voices. We're going to be discussing in episode number 3, Someone Believed in Me. So again, welcome to this hot, new, fun, lively podcast with your host and wonderful co-hosts. That would be EJA and Dr. Paul Miller. And we're just going to dig a little deeper into someone really believed in me. But we want to remind you to always come visit EricaJohnsonAllen.com and
PaulMillerEDD.com. PaulMillerEDD.com.
All right. And make sure that you continue to look out for more episodes to come from Vulnerable Voices. So let's begin the conversation, Paul. Let's talk about somebody believed in me.
Somebody believed in me. You know, when I think about that, I think about times. The most relevant story I have about someone believing me was I remember younger, and I don't even think he knew that he did it. You know, and that's what makes it even more powerful. He's passed away ever since, but it was one of my high school football coaches, and so I had two coaches, and the one coach I won't say his name, but we didn't get along too much, and so I wasn't feeling him. It was to the point where I was ready to quit playing football, and so you know I was always good. I wasn't great, but I was good enough to end up playing at University of Buffalo. Got hurt or whatever, but so I didn't play long, but. I was good. I wasn't great, but I was exceptionally, you know, I did well in high school. And so, but things weren't going the way I wanted it to. And I was ready to quit. I had enough, you know, I was looking for a way out and I was getting ready to quit. And his name was Trent Jackson. He's also one of my fraternity brothers. You know, I gotta, for the brothers, but so he was later on my fraternity brother or whatever, but Trent Jackson was an Olympian. He played in the NFL. He was, you know, this larger than life figure and had a gruff personality, but he always cared about you. And so I remember him looking at me and saying, and, you know, just saying what he said. He said, "God damn it, son, you stupid motherfucker."
Oh, my.
I should have said I was about to. He said, "You about to quit? God damn it, son, you can't quit." And you know, and then when he said you can't quit like that, but what he also described and what he went into is he was like, "Have you done everything you could do? So have you bit down on your mouthpiece and made somebody notice you? Have you laid somebody out to where you don't have where you make a statement so that you show everybody that you're as good as I think you are and that people shouldn't be playing in front of you." And so if you haven't done that and you're about to quit, you're a stupid motherfucker is what he said. and you know, that's how they talk to you back then. This is, you know, you dumbass. And you know, down south, you know, he talk to you like
down
that.
South, huh? Okay.
Get in your face, spit in your face as he's saying it. And you know, but I had to really stop and think about it because I was really done that day. And I had to think about it. I give everything that I could give. So I came back the next day and I said, I was hyped. I was ready. And I remember biting down and I literally remember that I laid somebody, you know, I laid into somebody and, you know, and I believe I clean knocked them off their feet. And then from that point on, like I felt a sense of empowerment and confidence. And every time that I lined up, I had to bring that type of fire to what I do. And it was a story of like perseverance but it was so much more than that to me because he believed and he knew that I could do it. It's just whether or not I would do it. And so that perseverance of not giving up. And so, and they say that once you give up, you always give up. So it was just the opposite. So where someone believed in me and I persevered through the situation. So now no matter what I face, I have to find a way to persevere through things. And so that was kind of my defining moment of making me, I believe, who I am as a leader. What was yours?
Well, It wasn't in high school. I mean, I think I had, someone along the way that I felt like believed in me, but my first teaching. So I'm at a job fair. I was alternatively certified, right? Because I didn't go to school, remember, to be a teacher. So I am at a job fair working on my certification, the last part, but I had to get a job in order to stay in the program. I'm at this huge job fair. I see a friend of mine who is a current teacher. She says, Erica, go to any table in here, just don't go to that one. So I look, why not go to that one? Well, she's a bitch. You do not want to work for her. Those were her words.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I'm like, oh.
Them is fighting words.
So guess what? Me being me, that's exactly right. So I go to the table, have a short interview. We're talking, little short woman, and she had her assistant principal with her. She interviewed me. She asked me just a couple questions, of course, basic information. And then she asked me why I wanted to teach. I gave her my answer, and she said, I don't need to ask you anything else. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I guess my answer was wrong, right? So talk to the assistant principal, have a conversation. He asked me a couple questions. Once he's finished, she said, I want to hire you. I'm thinking, wait a minute, I've already been told don't go work for her, right? So, okay, but I need a job. And so I'm good because I'm willing to take a chance. Took the chance, got hired. Working for this woman impacted my entire life. She would walk into my classroom. Remember, first year teacher, you don't know what you're doing. You're still trying to figure it out. She would walk into my classroom. I'm about to lose my mind. I'll never forget it. She said, what is it that I need to do for you? I need some coke. I'm just struggling. So I come back to my classroom later on after it was probably lunch or whatever. There was a case of Coke. At that moment, it told me, I will get you anything you need. You make sure that you take care of the children in this classroom. Mm-hmm. I saw that. Okay. Time went on, years passed. She began to challenge me. And she would always say, I believe in you, because I struggled believing in myself. I believe in you. I need you to be over this. She's giving me more responsibilities to do this. Do you know what kind of caliber of teacher you are? She continued to pour in me because remember, I didn't go to school for this. This isn't something that I ever wanted to do, but she believed in me. I soared to success. That campus was in D Magazine. It's one of the highest rated schools. We went from the bottom to the top. That's where I learned how to truly lead and transform a school. Miss Halise Furtado is dead and gone today. And when I tell you that woman made such a dramatic impact on my life, it was a life-changing experience. I went in her office one day and she just looked at me. She said, "Are you okay?" And I just poured down crying. What she did not know is that I had just had a fight at home the night before because I was a victim of domestic violence. Now, don't get me wrong, Paula, I fought back, right?
Right.
But that's what I was going through. And to be able to share everything just through my tears, I never said a word. And she looked at me and she said, "It's time for you to go. You get your stuff and it's time for you to go." So she became even like this mother figure to me without me saying a word. I knew at that point, I wanted to be able to believe in other people like she had believed in me, because she changed the whole trajectory of my life. And I knew that's what I had to do for other people that were coming behind me. So that's my story about someone really, really special who believed in me.
No, absolutely. And I think about your journey, and your journey was one of where this person was an exceptional leader who gave you what you needed and then made you want, they led by example, they modeled it and they inspired you and they made you want to do exactly what they did. And so, I think about my journey, and my journey was a little different because as I have progressed through the leadership ranks, I don't think I've ever worked for a good leader. Um, I've never worked for somebody that I would consider a good or an inspirational leader. I've worked for people that I believe were unethical. I looked for people that were a little bit racist. I looked for people that were two-faced and backstabbing, and that they were self-serving as well. And so, I go back to my story because there was often times where I wanted to quit and just leave and go do something different. But because of Coach Jackson, and like I said, he didn't even realize it. Later on, I remember I was riding with him in the car, taking him to the fraternity picnic, and I told him, what he did. And he just was basically, I think he told me shut the hell up or something. but I got the grin. I got the grin and the smile, and he gave me the acknowledgement that I think I was looking for. But then he told me to leave him the hell alone or whatever. and then, but what he did for me was light a fire. He lit a fire. So know that I have to light that fire in people the same way that your person lit a fire in you. I have to light that fire in kids. Like there's times when people ask me, why am I tough on kids? Because same way Coach was tough on me, and he could have coddled me, he could have tried to hug me and tell me don't quit. But instead he lit a fire.
Right.
And he said, find it in yourself. And so I try to help kids find it in themselves and staff to find it in themselves to move forward. And the people that I've worked for, where they've said that I can't do it, where I've been up and running for jobs and I found that they were behind my back, telling people why I shouldn't get hired and making up untruths. And you know what? And I found that I had to continue and persevere. Right. And I had to persevere through all that to get to a place where I can give back and do things differently. And so they taught me what not to do instead of what to do.
Absolutely. I was told on this journey before I became an administrator to get you a black book. And you write in that black book everything you're going to do when you get your own school. And you write in there everything that you've learned to never do from the leaders that you've worked under. And that's how you lead your school. And I took that advice, and that's what I did. Mm-hmm. And I mean,
you got numbers in the black book too?
It depends. I can't give you all my secrets, Paul. Just a few. A few.
You've been collecting numbers in the black book?
That was a different black book. Actually, that one was yellow. I started it in high school.
You still got it? Do you ever call and
I'm sure the numbers have changed now, but I do keep everything. Ha ha.
Okay. All right.
But I encourage people to get you a black book and start writing things down that you see other people do that you vowed to never do as a leader, and write down what it is that you would do. And if you really use that as a guide through your journey, it'll help you remember and never forget. But Paul, I think trust. I think my experience taught me the value of trust and the value of building a relationship and the importance of modeling for those who follow you. Because like I tell people all of the time, people are always watching. You should live your life as if someone has a camera on you at all times, because there is someone always watching. And so if you model what you expect, then you'll see that leadership journey look a little differently, and you'll have people who you can inspire and move on to the next level as well. But trust is the key.
Absolutely. I believe Kouzes and Posner, they're gurus within the leadership industry, and they wrote the Leadership Challenge. They put a new version out with the same thing in it, just different stories that we all pay a lot of money for and make a lot of money off of it. But it's good stuff. So they're and always when they survey people, the top thing that people say they want in a leader is honesty. Honesty, which equals trust, and and giving that honesty and trust builds relationships. So if the relationship's built off of trust, and people are going to work harder for you, like the people that we believed, we trusted them.
Right.
So we had a belief in them that we had watched them, or we saw them, or they gave us an indication that we could trust them. And so by us trusting them, we were able to, our lives were able to change. And so now it's, how do we build trust? How do you out there who are listening build trust with others, and make sure that you're leading from that perspective? Because and a lot of it is doing what you say you're going to do.
Absolutely.
And if not, if you can't for some reason, it's being able to be honest and say why you can't.
Yeah. Because the worst thing you can do is nothing. And people have to understand that. Like you're saying, you got to do something.
And I think so. How do you feel that trust equates to what happens in school buildings that aren't successful?
School buildings that aren't successful, when you walk in the building, you can feel the difference in the culture. Culture is truly something that you feel. And you can tell just in general conversation, you'll see a lot of negative words. You'll see a lot of no, don't, not. When there is verbiage on the walls, maybe it's in the rules, maybe it's in common areas. But when I'm doing a tour of the campus and providing a needs assessment, I always look out for those negative words, because those give insight into the actual culture of the campus. And when you see a lot of negativity, there's not a lot of trust. So I would challenge all of our leaders out there that are running schools to start there. Change your vocabulary. Eliminate the negative words and rephrase your sentences and your verbiage. And then do strategic exercises to build the trust across your faculty. Otherwise, you're going to have problems. That's what you call a toxic culture. When people don't trust each other, you have major problems.
And I think building trust is also building cohesion, and if you look into teacher efficacy and buildings that are successful, they have the highest amount of teacher efficacy, and building the cohesion amongst faculty and staff. It's also about building relationships, and it's about building that trust, and it's about seeing what others are doing. But to do that, you have to trust that, it's okay, that, someone's going to come in and not necessarily judge you, but provide you constructive feedback, and also learn something as well. So I think cohesion is huge in building a successful school and a successful district, with the way that people, and it all starts from, like you said, the trust and building those type of relationships and rapport.
Right. And it's easier said than done, right? I mean, trust is a big word. It's a really big word. A lot of people come to us with trust issues, right? Because of things that have happened in their past. So that's a huge hurdle to get over. But there are small things that you can do to begin to build trust and cohesiveness throughout your staff. And I think the first thing, Paul, no matter what, is having conversations. If leaders aren't talking to people, you can't even begin to build a relationship. Therefore, trust does not exist.
So how do you recommend starting if you're somewhere and you're struggling and what you've been doing isn't working, and you got to reestablish, or you have to establish trust? Where do you start? Where would you start?
You start with actually sketching time out of the day to have conversations. And that time is sacred time. right? So a lot of times teachers have grade level meetings, PLCs, etc. throughout the day. As the leader, no matter what anybody tells you, your teachers want to hear from you. They want to see you. So you have to value that time, and it's a non-negotiable. It should be sacred time between you and the people you lead, whether that's a grade level at a time, a content area at a time. That's the simplest thing you can do, is start with the conversations. And always, I don't care what meeting it is, always ask your team, what do you need from me? If you're not ending your meetings asking your people, what do you need from me? I challenge you to change the conversation. And then truly, if they tell you what they need, you need to get it to them immediately. A lot of times we don't have the follow through. When you start doing simple things like that, the trust begins to happen at your campuses. Those conversations become more vulnerable. But first, you got to start having the conversation. And I don't see that a lot at schools, Paul. I don't see people talking weekly about authentic things that are going on in the building, particularly the children.
Absolutely. And I think those authentic conversations lead to trust, and trust leads to cohesion, and cohesion leads to success. And so, it all plays hand in hand.
Absolutely.
I think as kind of pulling this together, I have to go with some last thoughts here. And my last thoughts, I'm going to give people something called "See It Through" from Edgar Albert Guest. And it's something to kind of live by. When you're up against the trouble, meet it squarely face to face. Lift your chin and set your shoulders, plant your feet and take a brace. When it's vain to try to dodge it, do the best you can do. You may fail, but you may conquer. See it through. Black may be the clouds about you, and your future may seem grim, but don't let your nerve desert you. Keep yourself in fighting trim. If the worst is bound to happen, despite all of you can do, running from it will not save you. See it through. Even hope may seem but futile when with troubles you're beset, but remember, you are facing just what other men have met. You may fail, but fall still fighting. Don't give up, whatever you do. Eyes front, head high to the finish. See it through. And so, I want you to see us through on this podcast. I want you to join us for our future episodes. I want you to check us out. I'm Dr. Paul Miller. You can check me out at Paul Miller EDD. You can also check us out on YouTube and subscribe at Vulnerable Voices. We'll be live, and these episodes will be live and also on podcast sites. And who are you?
I am Erica Johnson Allen, EJA. You can check me out at ericajohnsonallen.com.
We thank you all for coming. Thank you. God bless you. Good night.
Peace.
Sexy chocolate.